Hi, Scott Machine Gun Dad. Welcome back to my channel. I'm going to give you a tip for the newbies that are starting to collect military guns, whether they be Mausers or Nagants or even machine guns. Back in the day before the internet, you needed a reference book. The best reference book you could get, and you almost had to go to a gun show to get it, was this one. Now, this is the best guess on what I've been told about the history of this series of this guns. This originally was an idea that was put forward to the military, that you should have a reference book, so if your troops move into a foreign land like Japan or Germany, or they're serving in Africa, they might run into weapons that they haven't seen, leftovers from World War I, leftovers from World War II. So the earliest version of this I've seen is 46. There might be earlier ones, but I've only ever seen 46, and it basically covered the first two world wars. Every freaking country. If you want to learn how to take a Steyr pistol from 1912 apart, it was in the book. The book went through generations. So like in Korea, when they started seeing a lot more Soviet weapons and different Soviet weapons, it would be in there. And their captured Japanese weapons that were converted by the Chinese, they would mention them and say it was a captured Bren gun. They would say, it's a Bren gun, but it's been converted to this caliber, but it operates like a Bren gun. Please refer to the Bren gun chapter to see how Bren gun comes apart. So they stopped updating this book, as far as I know, in '83. So, like, for example, the Ultimax 100, which I'm a huge fan of, the first two generations of the Ultimax are actually in that book. But anything newer than that isn't going to be in that book. But if you're collecting the old stuff, Mauser pistol, Mauser pistols, Nagant pistols, I'm going to show you. I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to give you. Here's one. Okay, finished machine guns. It'll give you a drawing, a picture, basic parts assembly. And if it's a commonly used gun, here's the French. If it's a commonly used gun that you would have a chance to run into, let me see if I can find one. It'll show you how to take it apart. Here's Soviet guns. How to take it apart, how to clean it. And what they did was they used the actual military reference manuals and just basically converted them to English, photographed the pictures, so the average U.S. person or GI could, if you were stationed in the Middle East and you ran across the Tokarev rifle, you would know how to take it apart, clean it, and actually fight with it. These books, because of the internet, are not expensive now. When I was a kid, this book was over $100 because you couldn't get them. It wasn't that they were expensive if you could, I didn't know how to order from a bookstore. I'd go into a bookstore, they'd say, yeah, retail's $29.99 or $69.99, and it's $20 to get it here, and we're going to charge you $20. That's $100 for a book when I was making $2.10 an hour. So it took me years to get my first one of these. I actually wore it out. I broke the spine off of it. It fell apart. Best book I've ever seen for general knowledge on any kind of weapon, military weapon. Some of the later ones do reference civilian guns, but they don't know how to take you apart. They'll give you basically, you can identify a civilianized, like an Inner Arms Mauser or a Savage 99, but they don't really get into depth on civilian guns. If you're going to collect civilian guns, this isn't the book. But if you're going to collect old military stuff, this is the book. It's a default book. A lot of the information in here, I'm sure, is now on YouTube and the internet, but if you're old school and you're sitting there and you want to just learn, hey, you're sitting on a crapper. There you go. I hope somebody listens to me. I would love to see them update this. They're 40 years out of date. A lot of firearms, new firearms, like there's no Glock in these. It'd be great if they updated it and made it actually maybe a Volume 1 and Volume 2 and covered different eras, where they kept the stuff from World War I and World War II in Volume 2, and they maybe did post-Vietnam World War I and World War II would be Volume 1, and Volume 2 would be, say, post-Vietnam. Because, the 249, the 240, I'm trying to think, the Glock, the Beretta 92, the later series of the Beretta 92s, the Smith & Wessons, the police law enforcement weapons aren't in this book. It'd be great if they updated it. I'd pay the money. I don't know if you would, but I would. Thanks for coming to the channel.